Good evening, everybody. My name's Barry Katz, and I'm the producer of this film, I Killed JFK. I thought I should share with you my story and why I'm here and why I got involved in this film. I'm not a guy who's an on-camera personality. I've never done a television show. I've never been really in front of cameras like this. I do host a podcast called Industry Standard, where I go behind the scenes and interview some of the most important players in Hollywood and the entertainment business. But this is way different. I started as a stand-up comedian. I'm a comedy guy. I'm not a documentarian. I'm not a person who's done these kind of things before. And I wanted to be able to share with you how I got involved in this. Essentially, I got a call. I was told there was a guy who was going to come to my office. He wanted to show me something that was really important. The man came in, he opened his laptop. I saw some raw footage of some of the people involved in the JFK assassination. I was riveted, I was fascinated. The man closed his computer and he left. The reason why I'm here is, like most of you, I remember a tragedy that happened. I remember as a young child being in my kitchen and seeing my mother crying as she watched the portable black and white television on the counter and the funeral of JFK. And throughout my whole life, I could never figure out why this mystery had never been solved. Why 50 years and this is still the greatest unsolved murder mystery in history. And that's why I'm here, because I'm curious just like you, and I want to figure out the truth. I want to know what happened, and I want to search for the answers. And I can't guarantee that you're going to find them tonight. You're going to have to draw your own conclusions. I've drawn mine, and I hope you draw yours. Please enjoy this special event presentation of I Killed JFK. All right, without further ado, it's time to introduce our esteemed panel guests for tonight's special evening. My first guest tonight is a man who is a U.S. government, intelligence, and national security expert to the highest order. Please welcome Gordon Ferry. Hey, Gordon, thanks for being here.
Welcome to our home.
My next guest I'm really excited to have here. He's the author of the best-selling book, Blood, Money, and Power. Please welcome Barr McClellan. Hey, Barr, thanks for coming.
Hi there.
My next guest is a real pleasure to have with us tonight. I'm really, truly honored that she could make it. She is the foremost expert on Lee Harvey Oswald, having been his lover, and is one of the last living experts on the JFK assassination. Please welcome Judith Very Baker. Hi, Judith. Thanks for coming.
Hi.
My next guest I'm really happy to have here. He was an integral part of the film and a man who is an expert on James Files, a former FBI agent, and one of the foremost experts on the JFK assassination. Please welcome Zach Shelton. Thanks for coming, Zach.
Barry, I'm glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
My next guest I'm really excited to have here. He's an incredible man and a colorful figure I know you're going to enjoy. He was a journalist in 1963 in Dallas, and he's author of the best-selling New York Times book, Crossfire, The Plot That Killed Kennedy, which was a basis for the Oliver Stone film JFK. Please welcome Jim Marrs. Thanks for coming, Jim.
Thank you, Barry.
Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for being here tonight and for allowing us to hear your stories and sharing your expertise on this amazing story and this incredible mystery that's been going on for over 50 years. And I can't think of a better way to start the questioning than with this one. Who do you believe actually killed JFK, and do you feel that James Files fired the fatal shot?
The principal shooter was, in fact, to be Nicoletti. And James Files, as was he faithfully reported, was asked to be backup shooter, and he did exactly what I would have done. I walked Dealey Plaza in less time than he did, and I picked the same places as a sniper would.
I mean, you can't help but believe the guy. And based on him, he shows there's a conspiracy and a cover-up. I came up with the James Files, as is in the documentary, by his one comment: if the American people really knew what happened, they wouldn't be able to handle it. Files told various individuals prior to me receiving that comment, an undercover agent and a source, said it again to another person that passed it on to another agent. And after talking to Files and after looking at the evidence, three things happened relating to Files. He took the shot, and he's telling the truth. He actually took the shot behind the picket fence of where the House Select Committee, through the acoustics test, put a shooter. He was with Nicoletti when Nicoletti shot, and he put the weapon in his own hand and claimed that he shot. Or number three, he wasn't even there, and Nicoletti regurgitated everything that happened that day. I'm the opinion, I don't totally discredit the fact that he pulled the trigger. I'm more apt to believe that he was with Nicoletti and Nicoletti took the shot, and he's saying he did. But I don't know if we'll ever know. He was there. There's too much facts in his story that fit. But I don't think any of us will ever be able to say 100% that he took the shot.
I believe James Files is trying to make up for sins of the past. I think that it's reasonable that people say, well, he shouldn't have been at the grassy knoll because one, he was too young, or at the last minute, why did they put him there? But he said he had been there a week. If anybody knew where to position themselves, he would have known. So it's logical to me that he could have been in the position there at the grassy knoll. I believe that James Files is the closest we're going to get to understanding the role of the mafia. Jimmy Files has nothing to gain by what he's confessed. Jimmy has mentioned with the most cold and lack of passion how he shot JFK. This is what a person does when they are a killer.
And you're looking for results here because you don't have video from Lyndon Johnson saying, yeah, I set it up. You don't have a video from the CIA saying we set it up. You don't have a video from a lot of other people that knew about this. But the main thing you have is people talking about it at the time of the assassination, and you have this almost universal rejection of the Warren report. I mean, what are you going to say? You get this report that is impossible. You get the film that is a Zapruder film, and then you get this gangland murder and the mafia having maybe a role in it. It looks like it. So all these things kind of add up, and then you get information that points to one result.
Right now today, even though a lot of people have been named as a second gunman, as far as I know, there's only two that's actually confessed that has any kind of credible evidence to support that confession. And one of those is James Files, and one of those is was a Dallas policeman at the time, Roscoe White. But it's really kind of inconsequential because it's not so much who could have killed him. Anyone could have killed him, including the proverbial lone nut. The real question is who had the power to cover it up for more than 50 years?
Based on everything we know and all the evidence that's coming out, why do you think the mainstream mass media still, to this day, pushes forth the Oswald did it alone theory?
Information is out there. There's been people come forward. There's been people confess. There's been documents that have been brought forward, dribbled out over the years. The problem is the distribution of that information has not occurred, and that's because there's only 5 corporations that control everything we see and hear, and they've seen to it that most of this information does not reach the public. In 1963, there was a coup d'etat, okay, and unfortunately, most of corporate America went along with it, and so now they just cannot bring themselves to say, yeah, okay, we were either duped or we went along with it. Back in the 70s, when I was teaching a course on the Kennedy assassination at the University of Texas, Arlington, I told my students then, I said, you know, the grassy knoll gunman could come forward, confess, have some evidence to support his story. And I said, nobody would buy it, nobody would believe it, nobody would hear it, and the controlled mass media would not spread his story. And sure enough, look at James Files. You know, as far as I know, he's still alive. I understand he's now out of prison, you know, but he went on camera, he confessed, and there's evidence and physical evidence that would tend to link him to the crime. And he was connected to the Chicago mob and was intimately involved with people who could be shown to have been involved in the assassination. And yet most people have never even heard of him, and he's never been on national television. And, you know, so yeah, they've come forward and people have talked. You just don't hear about it.
And we have people in the U.S. who have uncovered, and it's on the record, you can find it in the government records, that shows the CIA had complete operations of subduing the media here in the United States and does to this day. All the investigators who have written wonderful articles, books, and what have you based on tidbits of information, really, that information is suppressed. Major publishing houses will not publish them, so they have to go to small publishers. In other cases, you have the fact that at the time of the assassination and in the investigations thereafter, the FBI was going around and they were gathering up all the information they could get, and they were either destroying it, altering it, or they were locking it up for decades not to be looked at. Because J. Edgar Hoover was involved in this, and the people who worked with him on the technical side of altering evidence, there were about 5 of them, were all subpoenaed to appear before Congress, and they were all murdered within 2 weeks. Frankly, it's the swamp that Mr. Trump is involved with now. Draining the swamp means exposing these institutions for the criminality of what they've been involved in. And trust me, it'll happen this year.
I put a great deal of faith in Gordon because he can explain how it worked, and he was there in so many ways. And as you have to do is accept what looks like and is probably the best story and see how it holds up. And for now, I do. And I back him, and we're going to see where this goes. We're trying in later events that I'm going to set up, try this case and see that we can't make the proof in writing, have what I call living history. Go to court, tell them what we know, explain the conspiracy, see what Johnson's friends might want to say now to defend him, and I doubt it, but that's up to them. They haven't said anything yet, and see how it all plays out. But this story needs to go first. What we're going to do, and having looked into it, is seek a pardon for Lee Harvey Oswald. And until we get past this, we've got to get past this to get to the pardon stage. And it has to be from the president, because Lee Harvey Oswald was never tried. As far as I know, never indicted or anything.
Who did Oswald really work for, and do any of you on the panel believe that he tried to kill or was the shooter who killed JFK? If in fact he wasn't the person who took the shot, and who framed him, and why?
I'm the last living witness who can tell you the truth about Lee Harvey Oswald and what really happened. I wasn't there in Dealey Plaza on November 22nd. I can tell you everything about him up to 37 and a half hours before the assassination. And so they have Lee Oswald, they say, meeting with Kostikov, calling him on the phone. And yet we have Hoover himself, the head of the FBI, in a conversation that we have recorded, saying that Lee Oswald was not the person that was talking to Kostikov in this broken Russian. This was a fake. This was an imposter. It wasn't Lee Oswald. Despite that, History Channel pretends it was. It's just outrageous. And they do things like that. I can tell you, I can assert to you as a fact, Lee Harvey Oswald went to Mexico City to hand off a biological weapon. They don't want you to know about things like this, because if the world knew that Lee was CIA and that he had been framed and cruelly betrayed by the CIA, they would understand a little bit about how the CIA can't be trusted even by its own operatives. Lee and I were going to go and live in Mexico. We had been promised that we could be just informants for the FBI and CIA there, and all that was lies.
A good example here is that one of the key pieces of evidence against Oswald is that on Monday evening, following the Friday assassination, the Dallas district attorney suddenly announced that we've got his fingerprints on the rifle. Well, that seemed to cinch it in the minds of most people, okay? What they don't know is that the Friday night of the assassination, the rifle was illegally and surreptitiously shipped to Washington. The next day, the FBI crime lab examined it, and in a document signed by Hoover himself, stated there were no usable fingerprints on the rifle or even the inner parts of the rifle. And then on Sunday, FBI agents brought the rifle back to Dallas. They took the rifle to Miller Funeral Home, where they were preparing Oswald's body for burial. And the funeral home director, Paul Grudy, told me back then, at the time, and through the years, and has stated publicly that he was there when they put Oswald's dead hand on the rifle. And then that evening they said, oh, we've got his fingerprints on the rifle. Now, under those circumstances, I don't think there's a jury in the world that would have convicted him on that flaky piece of evidence.
I'd like you to take me through the process of what happened